Hey guys, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. Let's talk about Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 1. The episode starts off with basically flashbacks and little clips behind the scenes and stuff like that of Karen Huger being sentenced to 1 year in jail in, I don't know if they're in Maryland or Virginia, but Potomac is in Maryland. She's lucky that there was no fatalities or any personal injuries. But anyway, it is her fourth DUI, and Giselle said a really great point, which is, okay, I love her. I don't want to see her going to jail, but let's be real, this is your fourth DUI. So I thought that was pretty accurate because, look, you could love somebody, but don't enable their bad behavior, right? If you're always bailing them out of jail, always making excuses for them, if they don't face the consequences of their action, they don't ever try to change. So look, this is her fourth DUI. Hopefully this time it sticks to her. And sometimes you need for something like this to happen for it to actually have an impact on you. Anyway, so the season basically starts off with Karen, the Grand Dame herself, going off to prison. This is the first season that I'm ever watching Potomac. I've never watched Potomac before. I decided to watch Potomac because of the whole, Karen getting arrested, sentenced, and, the 1 year prison sentence. I knew that Bravo, that they were still going to give her a contract. They were still going to film with her, and that this was going to be very similar to what they did with Teresa Giudice. Not that they were going to pause production to wait for her to come out, because Karen wasn't a centered person on Potomac like how Teresa was for New Jersey. So, the ladies, they could move forward and not have to pause production to literally wait for her to come out. You could tell by the way the setup was that ending for it, the season finale or whatever, it's going to lead up to basically Karen coming home. So having said all of that, since it is my first season watching Potomac, I realized that for the Potomac girls, they have a glass champagne. So I thought that was really cool. The other ladies, Beverly Hills has the diamond, and Salt Lake City has the snowflake. Orange County obviously have the oranges. Atlanta has the peaches. New York has the apple. What the hell does New Jersey have? Do they have the meatballs? I don't know why, but for some reason, I always thought New Jersey was like holding meatballs or something. That might have been a meme, but like that just stuck in my head. Anyway, I digress. I do want to say though, Giselle, is she related to Vanessa Williams? Tell me that she does not look like Vanessa Williams. Maybe it's because of the eyes. She has beautiful eyes. And that's why I think like, oh God, is that Vanessa Williams' sister? Are they related? Are they cousins? They look alike. We start off the episode with, I guess, Giselle's having like a get together. All the ladies go to her house. They start talking about Karen a little bit, but then it pivots to Stacy. Now, I don't know any of these ladies' backgrounds. Again, I'm just watching this season for the very first time, and I decided to watch because of the whole Karen thing, but also because of what happened with Dr. Wendy. I know, like other people, they're hyping up what's going on, with Karen and whatever else. But no, for me personally, I decided to watch this season because of the Dr. Wendy of it all. It's kind of why I decided to watch Atlanta. So I never watched Atlanta until the Sweet 16 season, which was the last season that just aired. I watched that because of the whole Kenya Moore and Britt Eady situation. And then I was like, okay, I need to watch it. And I enjoyed it. I feel like I enjoy Potomac a little bit more. I feel like Potomac is more refined. I don't know if it's because of their close proximity to Washington, D.C. So I feel like the women are a little bit more classy, more eloquent. They give like that posh, D.C. vibe. Here's the thing, though. If you guys remember that there was a Real Housewives of DC, I was very upset that there was only one season. It was like a disastrous season. But I kind of wish that Andy Cohen would have rebooted DC, because now I can't remember what the hell those two crazy couples were, but they legit broke into the Obama White House for like an Indian state dinner. And I was just like, are you kidding? Like the desperation was so crazy that I can't even believe that they committed something like that. They legit crashed a state dinner in the Obama administration. It was bonkers. But anyway, so like I could understand why Andy Cohen was like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this bullshit. But I wish that he would have rebooted the series. Also, I know that last season, even though I didn't watch any of the previous Potomac seasons, I know that Joe Biden's press secretary, she made a guest appearance on one of the episodes. So I felt like, come on, just reboot DC. I would love it. But anyway, so this is like the closest thing that, we'll get to DC for now. And everybody goes to Giselle's house and they're talking about Karen and her whole DUI situation. But then it pivots to this Stacy character. But while they're talking about the whole Stacy situation, I guess apparently last season, Stacy was with some guy named TJ. This TJ guy came out onto social media on Instagram specifically and was saying that he was paid to be her like boyfriend or some shit. They had some deal going on where she would pay him 50% of her Bravo paycheck. Now, Giselle and Ashley, they're saying that they were at, I don't know if it was the BET Award, the Essence Award, or whatever. It was some award. They were in Hollywood, and they said that this actress who is friends with TJ, that she showed them receipts. She has screenshots of, like, I guess, a legal filing that TJ did against Stacey, basically suing her for, I don't know if it was breach of contract or what, but basically in his claim, he's stating that she allegedly promised him 50% of her Real Housewives of Potomac paycheck, and I guess she didn't give him all of the money, so he's suing her for like the remaining balance or some shit. Ashley and Giselle are talking about that. Stacey, she sticks to her guns and she said that's not true, and I don't know why he's saying that. And then she even says that, you know, he apologized and he's like so embarrassed and he wants to retract it and everything. And Giselle and Ashley, they're kind of like side-eyeing it and like, girl, what are you talking about? He just came out on Instagram like 2 days ago and was like, yeah, she's lying, she's full of shit, I got receipts, I'm about to release these receipts. She's sticking to it. This reminds me of Atlanta. And again, you know, like I didn't watch Atlanta until last season, but just like how I didn't watch Potomac, but there are still some stuff that is so infamous or so, you know, part of pop culture that it just makes it into the social media blogosphere that you know about it, even if you've never watched the show. So one of the things that I was familiar with, even though I never watched previous seasons of Atlanta other than the Sweet 16 season, was that there was a season where Nene was on there and Kenya apparently had a boyfriend that nobody had ever met before, and they all thought that he was like a fake imaginary boyfriend, or that he was someone that Kenya had hired to like have a boyfriend on the show or some shit. So this actually reminds me a little bit of it, and I'm just like, all right, come on, girls. Are you guys recycling storylines and plot lines from other franchises now? It's a little bit much is all I'm saying. I will say this for Kenya in her defense. She at least didn't have a man coming out and saying all of that. She didn't have a man suing her for her paycheck. I mean, Ashley and Giselle saw the receipts, but Stacey, she's sticking to her guns. Now, Stacey, she actually has dinner with her ex-husband. I don't know if they're divorced or separated. In her confessional, she said that while they were in Mexico or wherever it was that they were at, they get the call from their lawyers that they're officially divorced, but they're trying to find their way back to each other and they're trying to rekindle their marriage or whatever. He has an accent, so I don't know if he's like South African or if he's Australian or from New Zealand or if he's British or whatever, but he's not American. All accents where it's a white guy talking, it all sounds British to me. It's because like those motherfuckers just colonized everybody. Ashley, she's having her second bloom events, whatever. The ladies were like, a second bloom? We didn't even have a first bloom. When Giselle was like, girl, just say you're having a party. Exactly. Why can't these housewives just be like, I'm throwing a party? Why do you have to put a name to it that doesn't even make any sense? It's like with Heather Dubrow and her non-birthday party. And everybody was kind of confused. Like, girl, your birthday was like 2 months ago. Like, why are we celebrating it now? And she did have a theme. I thought it was a Bridgerton theme. Didn't you guys think that? I thought it was Bridgerton, which, by the way, I love Bridgerton. Ladies all look phenomenal. And I just wish she would have just been like, yeah, I'm hosting a Bridgerton themed party. Ashley, she does meet with Stacey beforehand to try to get her to come clean about it. And she even says, look, I want to bring it to you so that you could get ahead of it. I like it that she talked with her one-on-one. Like, there's just no way that your cast members are not going to be talking about it, that social media is not going to be talking about it. And I know people are going to be like, well, the Bravo cameras up there. Legit, guys, come on. Stuff like that. Like I said, the man hopped on to Instagram. There was no way that this wasn't going to come up in the season. So I felt like Ashley, she did it correctly. But man, she doubled down on it. And she's like, you know, your imaginary friend. Giselle was with Ashley. So it wasn't just like, oh, you know, Ashley's word. It was Ashley and Giselle's words. She names drops the celebrity or the actress, but they bleeped it out. So we don't even know who the actress was, but they bleeped the name out. And like, I don't even know any background about any of these ladies. And I'm just like, Stacey, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar, Stacey. And then the next scene, we have Dr. Wendy and Happy Eddie. I guess Happy Eddie has this business and is selling weed, and he's trying to branch out into New Jersey because it's legal in New Jersey. It's hard not being biased with her just for the fact that I'm watching the season because she legit got arrested with her husband. And she's really the reason why I'm watching the season. But I will say, though, that, you know, even though I'm side-eyeing her and I'm watching her scenes with like a microscope, I will say this, though, when Wendy was sitting down with the other woman, Kay, I don't know what her name is. They just kept calling her Kay, so I'm just going to call her Kay. She sat down with Kay. Kay was like, I feel like you're being dismissive to me. Wendy made sense to me. Everything how Wendy explained it, I was like, all right, girl, you might have like committed insurance fraud, but I'm jiving with what you're saying. Because I don't know if this Kay woman was trying to make drama, but like how she was explaining it and how Wendy was explaining it, I was siding with Wendy because she was like saying, well, no, that's not how it happened. You know, I was hyping you up. When you told me that you were a sponsor, I was like, yay, girl, go, and all this other stuff. And Kay even acknowledged that. She was like, you did. And Wendy was like, well, why would then I take the opportunity to kind of like steal your thunder? And she's like, okay, fine, I'll give you that. But then how come when I was at the event and you were the speaker, you didn't acknowledge me? And Wendy was like, girl, are you for real? You expect me to interrupt my speech to like wave to you? And I feel like, yeah, that's like, no, like if you're a guest speaker at an event, you're not supposed to be like, hey girl, what's up? Like, no, like what? So the way Wendy was explaining it to me, even though she might be committing insurance fraud, I was like, you know what? I'm with Wendy on this. I don't see it from Kay's perspective. I don't know if she's just trying to have something to like be her storyline, because, you know, that is a large part of this. You need to have conflict with your castmates. And now Giselle, she bought her friend Tia, who has royal Nigerian blood. Like, this woman is legit a princess. I love it. I love it for her. I love her accent. They put up a photo of her father and her mother, her family, whatever. So I love it. I love it. I know Portia over there is like probably dying with envy that she's not a Nigerian princess, but okay, Portia. Anyway, so I love it for Tia. I love her accent. Kay has a friend too. Kay's friend is this woman, Angel. Angel is married to a former NFL player. They were living in Colorado. Now they're out in Maryland. There is some kind of history between Angel and Wendy. Apparently, they went to Temple University together. Wendy is saying, I know of her, but I don't know her. Like, we didn't run in the same circles. So while all of this is going on, I guess Stacey decides that she wants to talk with Ashley, and Ashley says something about Stacey's breath. I mean, Giselle notices too, but I thought it was very telling that Angel was like, you know, her breath greeted me before she did. Let me tell you, sometimes people have bad breath and they don't realize it, because I don't know, like it might be gingivitis, right? Because you never know. And it's like a lot of times it's not like whether your teeth is white enough or if you brush or if you don't, but sometimes it is bacteria, like how Giselle was like, I think it's coming from her gut. It's not always oral hygiene. I do think there's some truth to that, just for the fact that I've experienced people with really bad breath, and I don't think they realize it. But look, legit, sometimes I have bad breath and I don't even realize it, because like it also depends on like what you eat. That makes a lot of sense, especially if she can't control her burps. That actually does make a lot of sense. I don't know, I'm getting off topic. But anyway, so they go and talk, and Stacey is like, you know, I feel like blah, 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 blah. And Ashley is just like, no, like you're going to stand there and continue to lie. Like, are you even divorced and all this other stuff? And Ashley says that she went onto the Virginia website, and if you look it up, you know, you could find this information, but she found out nothing for Stacey. I don't know why they would go into the Virginia database, though. Aren't they in Potomac? That's in Maryland. I don't know. Maybe some of them live in Virginia. Maybe some of them live in Maryland. It's right there. Like, you know, that area of D.C. is very close to Maryland, and it's also very close to Northern Virginia. So, like trailers for like the upcoming season. Giselle is writing a letter to Karen. I love it. She's reading the letter. She's letting Karen know what's going on. She's talking about the ladies and all the stuff that's going on. So yeah, I enjoyed the first episode. I didn't think I would, just for the fact that when I watched Atlanta for the first time, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure I really like this episode. Can we just like move on forward to the Kenya where that all went down? But this one, I liked it right off the bat. And again, I just feel like probably because they're so close to DC that I feel like they're a little bit more posh. I don't know. So that was the episode. Let me know what you guys thought of the season 10 premiere episode. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the like, follow, subscribe, leave me a comment and all that good jazz. I'll check you guys out next time. Bye.